So a while back I did videos about my favorite 3DS games and DS games, and so let's go into my top 15 Switch games. Now I don't have as much time as I used to play video games, so there are honestly a lot of games I just haven't played yet, but yeah, let's just jump into it. Number 15, Fire Emblem Warriors. I love Musou games. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, but I love Fire Emblem, I love Musou. For me, this was a no-brainer. It's not like a remarkable game by any means. I just like hacky, slashy, fighty fight, and I like my hot Fire Emblems, so it just scratches that itch. Other Musou games, I have not played Fire Emblem Three Hopes. It's on my playlist because I love Musou games and I hear it's fun. And then Hyrule Warriors, I played on the Wii U. I do have the Age of Calamity game. I haven't played that yet, but that I also want to play. But just so you're like, why aren't those on the list? That's why. Number 14, Pokemon Shield. I know a lot of the newer Pokemon games get a lot of flack, and I do agree that this one is pretty bare bones, but I had a good time with it. I am not like super, I guess, picky about Pokemon. I just like catching the new guys, and that's really what I'm here for. I like the gym leader designs a lot. And I enjoyed both DLCs. So yeah, I can agree that the main story was kind of completely nothing. The wild area was, not bad, like a precursor to what we got later. But yeah, I think for me, the Pokemon designs and the gym leader designs went a long way for me. Number 13 is Tetris 99. I love Tetris. And a battle royale Tetris is genius. I played the shit out of it back in the day. I did manage to get a chicken dinner. Not a whole lot else to say. It's great. I never really got into the other ones. Like, I know there's like an F-Zero one. There was a Mario one. There's a Pac-Man one, I think, too. But Tetris 99 was the only one that, like, really sunk its teeth into me. Every now and then I'll still play, even though, like, I feel like nobody plays it anymore. Number 12 is Animal Crossing New Horizons. For those who don't know my past, I adore Animal Crossing. For New Leaf, I 100% of the game. I got every gold badge, which is an insane feat. New Horizons was not as good for me as New Leaf, but it was the perfect game for the pandemic, just to chill, check in on your town. And I did really like the Nook Miles. It was a fun way to, get achievements and stuff, and island hopping felt like gacha, which I love. But to me, it did feel a little like a step back in terms of, like, what things to do, I guess. And maybe that's not a fair assessment, but to me, it just felt that way. It felt like I had a lot more to do in New Leaf. And so I did 100% New Horizons. I got very close. I think it was just like, I was tired of I didn't want to check KK Slider every Saturday or whatever. So maybe one day I'll go back and get the very few Nook Mile achievements I didn't do. But I had a good time with it. It was still very cozy, had some nice quality of life features. But I feel like I'm really excited for the next one. I feel like the next one will, like, probably reach the heights of what I'm hoping for, but still a good game. Number 11 is Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's a little janky. Like, honestly, I think the combat is kind of unbalanced. It felt really weird and, like, unfair at times. I gotta say, filling out the decks, the tasks were really fun. Like, catch this many times, fight this many times. I honestly loved doing it. I did get every Pokemon. I didn't get 100% on the thing because I was like, I think 85% done with it, and then I moved, and it just killed my momentum. And it was also getting a little tedious near the end there. But, yeah, aside from some kind of janky mechanics, it was still a really addicting time. And I know people are kind of mixed on these open world Pokemon games, but I just love catching a lot of shit. What can I say? Number 10 is Pokemon Scarlet. This is honestly an extremely flawed game, but I really enjoyed it. I did, however, play it very late. Like, I think it got patched a bunch when I played it, so I didn't have to deal with, like, the true, like, really terrible times. Gotta say, even though I kind of don't like how it looks, I really don't like that the Pokemon are, like, life-sized, so they're just tiny little fucking bugs on the field, and you just... And, yeah, graphically, it's a mess. But I really liked the characters. I feel like it just gave me even more of that just catch a ton of shit and just... It was a catch-a-thon. And I get that for some people that's not what they want, but I just want to catch a lot of Pokemon. I had a great time with it, and I played all the DLC too. I really liked the sort of cast of friend characters in it. I felt like they were a big sell for me. And I felt like in the DLC, it was like, yeah, no, these are your buddies. I hadn't felt that way since like Sun and Moon. And I hope that the next one will be like the non-janky version of this and just be better. It really also pissed me off that the buildings were not real buildings and were just like shop, like menus. That sucked. But despite all its flaws, I still had a really good time with it. Number 9 is Breath of the Wild. It might be sacrilegious for this to be, I guess, quote-unquote low, although it is in my top 10. I had a great time with it, but weirdly, it's like a game where when I think back on it, I remember less and less, which is weird, because I had a great time. I love the characters. I love the discovery. I think just open-world games for me tend to sort of fade away in my memory, unfortunately. In the moment, you know, it's very engaging, but then you kind of look back on it and you're like, oh yeah, it was like a bunch of running around. But that does this game a disservice. It's a really good game. Really great puzzles. The combat was good. I wasn't like in love with it, but it was fun. But for me, it was just about going around finding stuff. That was really enjoyable. I have not played Tears of the Kingdom because for some reason I just don't have an urge to. I feel like I got everything I wanted out of Breath of the Wild. And I know Tears of the Kingdom is supposed to be better, and I will play it one day. But for some reason, I'm just not that excited about playing Breath of the Wild 2. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting burnt out on open world games. Who knows? Number 8 is Celeste. Now, this isn't strictly a Switch game, but I played it on Switch. I had a great time, even though I'm terrible at it. I did beat it. I barely got any strawberries or secrets, though. For me, I was just enjoying just going through it. I love that it is a very challenging platformer, but very forgiving in its sort of spawn points. So it's just like, all right, focus on this room, and you can die as many times as you want. You'll get through it eventually by practice. And I think the themes are great. I think the writing is really good. Just a very like sweet emotional tale of just dealing with, you know, depression and things like that. Like, it was a really enjoyable and like some really fun platforming mechanics. Great presentation, very, very solid. And I feel like I'm kind of like losing my love for 2D platformers, but a game like Celeste really makes me go, ah, yes, I still like these a lot. Having that modern sensibility, I think, really helps. Number 7 is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, a game where when it was announced, I was like, this looks absolutely stupid. And then I played it and I was like, oh my god, it's like XCOM Fire Emblem Mario. This is amazing. If you're scared away by the Rabbids or whatever, don't be. It is an extremely well-designed, very fun tactical RPG. And it feels very Mario, like you can jump on enemies in like succession, and but you have guns too. And honestly, I really loved like Peach, or Rabbid Peach. I thought she was hilarious. Just so much comedy and really rock solid gameplay. This was one that I played all the way through, 100% of it. I loved it. I was so just enthralled by it. I also love those kinds of RPGs. Very recently, I was on an RPG kick. I played the first Advance Wars and the Path of Radiance. I love guys on a grid map. And this one is like an extremely solid version of that. Number 6 is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I very recently played this for the first time. And wow, is it good. It's so good. The look of the game, just how the characters look. I am not a big fan of the new Super Mario Brothers design. I think it looks very stale, but this just evokes so much personality. The Wonder Flower, effects, every level just felt so imaginative. Kind of like Odyssey, which you'll see later on this list. Spoilers. It just fills you with wonder, as the title suggests. It's super easy, which I didn't mind, except for 2 levels. The one where you're like, jump to the beat or whatever the fuck, where you're doing it to the music. I hated that one. And then the final level was sheer hell. I almost gave up, but I finally got through it. And honestly, it was just so annoying because I don't really like gauntlet type levels where you kind of get through like 70% of it, you're like, this isn't that bad. But then you fuck up on the last 30% and then you have to just play the same shit over and over again. Just, it was a pain. It was a real pain. But overall though, really just a purely enjoyable 2D platformer. Again, I feel like I'm someone who's just, I grew up with 2D platformers, and these days I'm just like, I'm really just terrible at these. But stuff like Wonder and Celeste maybe go, oh, maybe I do like these types of games if they're just really polished and modern. Okay, now we're going into the top 5. Number 5 is The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Also, maybe, it was originally on 3DS. Maybe it doesn't count. I don't care. I played it on Switch. I finally getting to play these games was an absolute treat as an Ace Attorney fan. I did just get the Edgeworth Collection. I have never played the second Edgeworth game, and I'm very excited to play that. I loved Great Ace Attorney. I will admit the first couple cases were a little bit of a struggle for me. I felt they were like a little dry. But as it goes on and you see how the story unfolds, and I was really, I loved Susato, I love Baroque Van Zieks. The cast of characters really grew on me. Herlock, he's great too. And then the payoff, like when you realize, oh, it's 2 games, but it really is one giant overarching story. I felt like the payoff of it was like something I had not really experienced in Ace Attorney in a long time. For me, the original trilogy is like peak, and everything else is, it's alright. I still enjoy it. But Great Ace Attorney to me felt like, wow, it is like the heights of the original trilogy. Really satisfying narrative. Great animation. Like, I love how the characters look. And the writing and localization is also fantastic. Truly, truly loved it. I'm glad I finally got to play it. Number 4 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's Smash Bros, but it's Ultimate. I loved the one-player mode, just going through all that with the stickers or whatever the fuck they were. It had the big challenge wall. You could unlock stuff. And then it had just every character you could possibly want. I mean, it had Sora. Like, it had everyone. I love Smash Bros. To me, it just was, like, great. It's a continuation, a culmination of everything I love. It's the full package. It is my favorite Smash Bros. Game. It's just a giant toy box of fun. Number 3 is Dragon Quest XI. So I played this on Switch because the Switch version is better. Wow. I've been playing through the Dragon Quests, actually. I actually have played through everything except 7, 9, and 10 was not released here. So there are only 2 other Dragon Quest games in English that I need to play. But 11 was actually, I played that before that. Like, I had played 8 and 4, and then I played 11, and I was just blown away by it. Like, I had enjoyed previous Dragon Quests, but this Dragon Quest really sucked me in. I 100%ed it. I did every single thing in the game, and it was so enjoyable. Like, to just checklist after checklist of doing every activity. I know some people hate that shit. I love that shit. And I think it's a beautiful game. I really like the characters a lot. The story is, actually, the story was pretty good. I actually really liked where it went. It went in surprising directions. I think it's definitely the most engrossed I've been in a Dragon Quest story. Honestly, I kind of wish I had more appreciation for the old Dragon Quest before playing it, because there's this whole part where you go back to previous Dragon Quest times. I mean, now I have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11. So now I'm like Dragon Quest pilled. But it would have been nice to have that appreciation. But that's the thing about the game, is that even if you don't know Dragon Quest that well, God, it's good. It's just a fucking top-notch JRPG. Highly recommend. One of my favorite games of all time. Number 2 is Super Mario Odyssey. It might be my favorite Mario game. It's either that or a 3D World. I love both. But for me, 3D Marios are the best. Odyssey. What else is there to say? The music's amazing. The Cappy powers are so fun. Every kingdom is so unique and vibrant. Bowser's so good in it. It just, yeah, I got every moon. I had a blast doing it. The final level was also a pain in the ass. I also felt like my Joy-Cons just weren't working correctly. I only play Pro Controller now. Joy-Cons are a fucking nightmare. But yeah, and God, that theme song, it's perfect game. Perfect game. Perfect Mario. I adore it. And number 1 has to be Fire Emblem Three Houses, because I played this game 6 times by my own will. I love Fire Emblem. I'm actually going through it. I've played every English Fire Emblem except Radiant Dawn, Engage, and Three Hopes. But I'm going through them all. And this game, the school, you know, that Persona style calendar system with the school where you got to do all the stuff, and oh man, I was addicted. I think there are flaws. I think, you know, the maps are pretty lame, but I really like the characters. I really like the voice acting, and I was very interested in seeing how the plot diverged, you know, in each path. I think Golden Deer is my favorite. I did do Black Eagles first, which I'm glad because it's a very different campaign. Yeah, and the fact that I had New Game Plus, man, it was just so fun to just play it again and, all right, do this route, but you keep your progress from before. Wow, I was hooked. I was hooked. I don't know if I'll ever play a Fire Emblem to that extent again, but it is like peak Fire Emblem for me. Definitely my favorite in the series, for sure. Alright, well, that was all the Switch games I liked. I guess let me know in the comments which ones I should play. And if you want me to do any other types of lists about video games like this, let me know in the comments. Alright, peace.